Hey, what's up everybody? Blaze for here, and today for you guys another video of Persona 5X here. Inside of this video, guys, we're going to be going ahead and doing the unit review for the girl Queen herself, or Makoto Nijima, seeing she was the unit that dropped in 1.3.3. I know in the last video we did at least Yusuke, who was 1.3.1, but in 1.3.2 we had Riddle and Ren, in which the standards I'm going to do at least at the last second, or at least the prominent first standards are going to be done last. So we're going to be going ahead and just skipping to Makoto, seeing that she was just next in line. If you guys like videos like these, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy. And always hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out quite a lot. Y'all have been absolutely amazing. We're trucking our way to 7K, and I'm hoping by the end of the year we can at least hit 10K, maybe even 15K once global really releases. But until then, I'm going to keep on pushing, and we're going to keep on at it. So now when it comes down to Makoto here, this was the major climb when it came down to at least our DPSs. This character came out swinging with not only just, of course, crossfade, at least at the back of her, update, but as well in general being our first new character that was dealing some astronomical type damage. Like we had Yui in the process that was being able to hit 500k and stuff like that, but this character was able to hit 700k up to a mil pretty darn easily. Now we were seeing some numbers that were insane, especially if you dupe this character out. And even if you didn't have her duped, she was absolutely just a unit to be had. Even today, she's still a really good unit, and in fact is the only nuke DPS that we do have currently, especially for the single target section, really carrying this team on her back, or at least this whole element on her back as well, making her an absolute amazing unit as well to have. Now, as per usual, we're going to try and do this in the normal format of things. So firstly, we're going to go over, of course, like her awarenesses and her explanations. After that, we're going to try and go over the weapons as well as her skills, stuff like that. And then we'll wrap it up with, of course, the performances and how she just pretty much her skills do look. So first things first, checking out at least the awarenesses. Now I have her A1 currently, and it's actually going to be one of the things I will recommend for a lot of you guys, because of course, some of you guys do want me to recommend dupes and stuff like that or certain characters and tell you, is it worth going for these said characters? Now, the one thing I can at least say for you guys, this is one of the few characters I will advise the dupe for at least A1 is pretty darn worth it. If you want to go ahead and use her, but at the same time, you do not need it, because at the end of the day, it's just something additional. It's not something mandatory. It does help you out, but it isn't mandatory. Now, we're just going to go ahead and go over the A0 here, which after using persona skills to attack foes, she gains 1 stack of tenacity. And then for every 1 elemental element here on the target, you will gain 1 additional stack of tenacity. Now, tenacity stuff, it actually increases your attack by 6% and defense by 2%. So every time you see that word, just keep that in mind. But at the start of turn, once you have 5 stacks of tenacity, you will enter Iron Will. During this here, increases her attack by 40% and defense by 20%, and evolve Nuclear Burst to Fission Overload. So during this, pretty much her skill just changes to a different version of it, and you're going to see the animation change when I show it off in the video later on. But for 2 turns, you'll have this effect. It dispels all effects from tenacity and when Iron Will does end. So pretty much you get all your stacks. Once you have these stacks, you swap her form. You get Iron Will, which increases her attack and defense and changes one of her skills, which is the skill 3. After that, you will be able to deal some monster damage. And then after that's all done, of course, you have to get those stacks of tenacity back in order to go back into her little form. Now, this isn't anything that's too different of anything like that. So, I mean, like, this is something that's going to be built in her kit. And technicality wise, this is all you need. You don't need anything else. There's no extracurricular type stuff. Technically, this is literally all you need. Now, of course, if you want a little bit extra, the A1 is actually worth it, because at the end of the day, at the start of battle, you gain 5 stacks of tenacity immediately, meaning you can go into Iron Will even faster on turn 1. And then immediately as well, instead of getting just the regular old attack buff here and getting all this here, you actually get an additional 50% of attack whenever you do have Iron Will, which does make a huge difference in her damage marker, but doesn't make it to a point where it's absolutely useless or like isn't worth it all just sticking with an A0. She actually does really good as A0, so don't let this like kind of stray you away. If there was another awareness that you guys wanted to just go for, I mean, this character is one of the few I can just be honest with you and just say there's not really a real need to go for any more awarenesses on her. She's pretty okay as is. I do feel like that a lot of you guys might just want to go ahead and stick with her that way. But I mean, it's up to you at the end of the day. I'm only giving my recommendations on it. So I mean, like, if you want to go any further, you very well can. I just don't think it's going to be worth it. But now if we went over this, let's go ahead and go over the rest of her skills. Now, at least when it comes down to how you're going to use this character, you technically don't need any of this upgraded. I'm a little bit of a hard head person and I upgraded them anyways because it does affect your gear score here. And that's mainly me just chasing gear score at the end of the day. But you only need to have your skill 3 upgraded, right? This is the only skill you're going to be using on this character. That's because this is going to be the first version. Then when you go into your Iron Will phase, it will change into another version, which you still just use this skill. And then you're only going to be utilizing her highlight. Now, the reasoning for this is because, of course, her main heavy hitting skills is single target. She's a single target damager. There's no need to use any AoE. No need to use her healing. It's literally just going to be you banging at a wall and waiting till it breaks. So how this ends up going, of course, you have a certain amount of at least nuke damage that's going to be there to one enemy. If the target is then affected by this elemental element, it will then deal additional hits of this nuke damage by 39.8%. And actually, it might be like a little lower because, of course, I do have some increases in here. And you will gain 2 whole stacks of tenacity. Now, when under Iron Will, this will upgrade to at least Fusion Overload that I said earlier. And instead of seeing the 214.9% attack of nuke, you now can get 248.6% of attack of nuke to 1/4, at least one foe. And it can trigger a technical. Now, this is great, and it's only going to do this for every last element that you do have. So the more elements that you do have on the enemy, the more technicals you'll trigger. And of course, the more additional hits you'll get, in which you can get 3 additional hits in general. This actually does a ton of damage and quite literally is still impressive to this day. It just depends on how you really build this character. So I mean, like, a lot of you guys are going to enjoy using this character. And then her ult also hits very, very hard with what she has as well, seeing that she can gain 2 whole stacks of thermal mass. And this allows her to then actually use the effect and deal 414% of nuke damage to one foe. Now, it's really important to have at least the what's it called, elemental elements on a person too, because this also does affect the skill itself and increases the skill damage by 20%. So really, really good character, really awesome unit to use. And to be honest, the next thing in line is, what is the weapon be worth it? Now, this weapon I ended up getting down the line. It actually took me quite some time to actually get it because I had to stick with this for quite some time. And the main reason that I would say the weapon is definitely worth it is because of the damage that you're getting, as well as at least the extra little buffs that you get for her Iron Will. Now, her Iron Will is stupid important. What's doing all your damage is what's going to help you continue doing a ton of freaking damage here. And it's what really makes this character shine. Now, seeing that Iron Will is what you need, the only weapon that buffs this said Iron Will state is going to be the 5-star weapon. It's one of the reasons I would say the weapon is very well so worth it for a lot of you guys. You're increasing nuke damage, you're increasing your attack, you're getting stacks up faster, you're able to at least do the Iron Will, making sure it does a lot more damage at the end of the day. It will be very, very valuable. Now, this does not mean that she cannot run the 4-star weapon. I had this 4-star weapon for at least half a whole year before I ended up getting the 5-star weapon when it did rerun. I would suggest you guys, if you really just want to just have the character but don't care for the weapon, go for the 4-star weapon. It's still decent for you. It still does help you out to some extent. Though if you do want to go ahead and use Makoto for the long run and things like that, I would highly advise you guys to get the weapon. It's definitely worth it, though. That's up to you guys and seeing if you do have the currency at that moment in time. Now that we went over at least this character and at least how what's worth it and what's not, let's go ahead and go over the character animations here and the performance. Now, once again, I'm not technically going to be showing too many teams here because I want to at least revitalize my build guides and stuff. So that does take some time to, of course, too, for me. But I still want to show you guys exactly what she's capable of. Now, this character is a little bit of a glass cannon, so it is kind of iffy. on living wise. I actually want to use this on a single target person here. So let's just take this boss, because why not? It should just be fine. But this would be one of the characters that quite literally is an interesting bunch here. She needs health, she needs HP. You could run her record if you truly do want to. Using Vino is also nice, and I think I'm gonna keep at least Futaba here. I haven't tried her with Anj, so that might be a video. You know what? I might try that for a video and see how that works later on. But yeah, for the most part, we're gonna just build something together here so you guys can actually see what's happening here. You can kind of take this with a grain of salt. If you do want to go ahead and try to copy the team, go ahead and do so. That's kind of up to you at the end of the day. But this is what I'm normally going to be running. If you feel like she dies way too quickly, in which she kind of does die very fast, you can very well use Marion in order to get the attack buff. At least that was the old team of doing it. So I mean, like, it's kind of up to you. But we're going to go ahead and use this here. So let's go ahead and go in here, and we're going to start off with just showing all the skills and exactly how they look here. So first, I do want to show you guys how much damage she can really do as well. So if we can get him to live and not just like kill the guy, I think it'll be kind of good for you guys to kind of see exactly what you can do. So since this is turn 1, I'm just going to do this, so we don't want to really deal any other damage. As I did say, for A1, you're immediately allowed to transform. This is up to you if you want to go ahead and do it. We're going to go ahead and do it because, of course, that's how it looks. You go in your different form. And then the evolved version of skill 3 is going to look something like this. Does a ton more damage based on the amount of elements you do have. And then I will be able to show the other version of her skill pretty much later down the line. But since he has multiple lives, I can easily kind of like, you know, just have a little fun with this and just do whatever I want. So quickly do this as well here and show off the rest of her skills, in which first things first, I want to show off the ult. So we're just going to quickly trigger this here. And the ult is going to look something like this. Got the race around for a little bit, do a couple donuts, and then boom, big old damage, of course, looking really, really nice. And then we're going to do the skill 2, which is your heal. As I did say, you're not going to be using any of that. You're really just going to be utilizing the skill, what is it called? Skill 3. But if you do want to use that, you very well can. Now, I don't remember. Am I still in my form? I am. Yeah, I'm still in my form for another turn. But for skill 2, looks like this. Get you some health off of it. Not something you're really going to be utilizing, but hey, so you get some health off of it. No biggie. Nothing too crazy. And I'm actually going to just quickly kill these guys off because they're just powering them up even more, and I don't feel like dealing with that. So let's just use the actual follow-up here so you see how the follow-up looks. And then we're just going to go ahead and pass our little turns here. And I'll just go ahead and do this as well. Then, of course, for the last skill, it looks a little bit like this. It's an AoE skill, so this is just going to be like this, a bunch of little hits. It's not really the one that you're going to be utilizing too much. Of course, it is kind of helpful, but at the end of the day, not what you really want to be using. Now, since this is the end, of course, why not just go ahead and end off the boss? Just because why not? We've already seen it. But also, since it's the end, we get to finally show at least her basic form of the skill 3. So we're going to quickly use Rebellion once again, which the boss is going to take at least a turn. I was going to nuke Homie just then out of just straight up remembrance, but we're not going to do that, of course. Quickly go ahead and go into the next attack, which we live through all of this, of course. And then we have her regular form, which is going to be this move. Now, once again, if he has more than at least a couple elemental elements, will do more damage here. And so you guys will actually see a little bit here as well. More elemental elements. We're going to use our skill 3. This is how it normally looks, in which we get technical damage off of as well. But that's usually how she ends up in performing. As a performance wise, she's actually a really good character. And okay, I was about to say, did my game freeze? But she's actually a really good character. And to this day, she is still the most prominent and only new character inside of the TW, KR, and CN versions. So if you guys did want to at least invest in her, she does have a high tier investment amount. to actually keep her inside of the team, as well as actually use her in current day events and things of that nature. So without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and close it on out here. The single target nuke DPS is still on top, and hopefully y'all really enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button before and consider subscribing if you are new. I do daily videos of P5X, and we're only going to continue from here. Until then, everybody, peace out.